Hello and welcome to another episode of Nothing Definitive. My name is Sam Carlson, and today we're going to talk about something you can learn from the video game Sims in regards to social interactions and dating. Okay, so if you've ever played The Sims, and I'm specifically, in my mind, thinking of The Sims 3, because that's the one I've most recently played. I haven't actually played in years, but I remember the game. Um, one of the things that one of the features in the game is being able to interact socially and increase the social rating you have between two people. If you do something positive, you warm up to that person and you become friends, best friends, lovers, whatever. If you're mean to them, it gets negative, and eventually they become like enemies with you. What's interesting about that is you can actually take that and apply it to real life. Every time you interact with another person, you're always either increasing, decreasing, or maintaining your social ranking with them in real life. Unless, like when you interact with a computer, for instance, nothing is happening. It's a machine, it's an inanimate object. Even though you can do stuff, kind of interact with it, it doesn't interact back with you. It doesn't feel anything towards you. However, with a person, I mean, that seems really obvious, right? With a person, they have emotions. There's feedback. When you say something, even to your family, to your best friends, people you've known your whole life, there still is a degree of like social change over time. If you change as a person and your family doesn't like that, you can decrease, even though they like love you and all that stuff. The way they feel about you changes. So it's important that when you approach every interaction with another person, that you ask yourself, what am I saying to them? What does my body language imply? How is what I'm doing increasing the relationship I have with this person? And you could even like kind of make it a game and award award yourself points when they smile or they have like a fun interaction. They leave the conversation that they have with you feeling better about who you are. That increases that rank. And obviously vice versa, if you're mean to them or whatever, or you screw up and say something stupid and it hurts their feelings or whatever, it has decreased it. Now, there's probably thresholds, like if they're your parents and you say something mean, they're probably never going to reach that point, most likely, where they hate you and like never want to see you again, right? So in that respect, that there's kind of a limit there. But with unknown people, especially with like something like dating, that's why you kind of go into it with some prepared material. You have the basics understood. You try and get comfortable, and you kind of play a game because you're trying to meet this person and walk away. Not only with their phone number, but you want them to feel good about who you are. Of course, I'm not saying you should manipulate them. You should try and be who you are, but you should also be a good person. And this is still something that you should take into account. Even though it is kind of a subtle form of manipulation, it's still important. It's still, you can say, well, I'm not going to do that because that's, manipulating them. But guess what? You're doing it anyway. If you're interacting with another person, this is happening in the background, whether or not you want to accept that. So with that being said, you should just accept it and at least be aware of it so that like it's important to maybe control yourself a little bit. Don't just always be super negative because people have to put up with you. It does hurt that relationship you have. So just something interesting to consider for an exercise, the next conversation you have, whether that be with a friend, your parents, or some random person or someone, maybe a girl or guy or whatever you're trying to pick up. Think about that while you're talking to them. Try and run it as you're conversing with them. Try and think, I just said this thing. How do you think that made them feel? And then if if you're, it'll probably take a little bit to get good at it, but if you can, start to think about like, what can I say next that would make them laugh or make them feel better about who I am, and you can kind of add up the points and then you can review it afterwards and say, okay, that was good, that was good. I probably gained points here, but I lost points here because I said this, or maybe I could have gained more points if I would have, commented on like, oh, that's a great shirt or something like that, and make them feel good. So yeah, something interesting to think about. Have fun, and see you next time. Remember to please consider subscribing, liking, sharing. All that stuff really helps channel get out there and stuff. So thanks. See ya.